Hello and welcome to DoShitters Sharing Shit, where we talk with our guests about their creative process. Here today with us, Lilian Hess. Thank you so much for joining us, Lilian. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
We always like to start these interviews by asking people, what is the shit that you do? What's your shit, Lilian? Explain to us a little bit.
What's my shit? That is a very good question. I often ask myself as well, because I work. I guess I'm a multidisciplinary artist. Is probably the best word for it. And what do? I work in film. I come from documentary filmmaking, though always have been very interested in the kind of documentary film that is trying this balance act between fact and fiction and kind of these creative approaches to telling true stories and finding creative ways to even maybe elevate the truth or put contributors in a space where they can speak more deeply about their experiences. This kind of approach, I guess, is also what led me to work in immersive media, so extended realities, because it is a kind of medium that allows for the body to be part of the story. And that's really what interests me in that space. And that's the kind of work that I focus on within those media. Works that are location-based, works that involve the body actively, that require people to move or question their own position within their environment. So very installation-based physical works. And lately, I've started to have a very particular interest in the material of glass. And I want to move more towards still staying within the realm of digital installations, but maybe bringing more physical objects into that space as well. So I'm going to be embarking on a glass blowing experience apprenticeship soon. Stay tuned.
We will.
So that's the many things I do, aside also things like photography. I do a lot of writing, so most of my pieces come with kind of essays and explorations into the more intellectual thinking behind the different works. So yeah, many different things, many different shit I do.
It's going to be very, very interesting as well, knowing the very different kinds of shit that you do, exploring the differences in the creative process, and also the things that you feel that regardless of the medium that you apply it to, you always find yourself in that same space. No, so we're gonna start exploring this creative process. We have 10 cards there, numbered 1 to 10.
Yeah.
So you can.
I always like to rearrange them, because that way neither you or ourselves know which cards are behind the numbers. So it's a surprise. It's randomly picked.
Exciting. So I choose a number.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm gonna choose number 5.
Okay. In card number 5, we have Secret Project. I adore this one because sometimes it's a way of asking people like, "Ooh, do you have a secret project that you want to share, or just tell us a little sneak peek?" And also this card reminds us that sometimes we have projects that we are in the idea moment, or that we are like in a very at the beginning, and we want to keep it to ourselves. And then this card reminds us the perfect moment to share it, that sometimes it's difficult to know when to share it. And sometimes the moment that you share it, you make it public, and you say it out loud. It's kind of you need to do it because people know already that this project is in your head. So you have this kind of pressure. So it's a little bit to know if you have any secret project, and how do you deal with this moment of making it public, or to whom you make it public.
Yeah, that's a very good card. I do have a secret project. But I found really interesting also what you're saying about choosing the moment of making it public, because with my last work, that was the only way for me to bring myself to actually do it. So I'm the kind of person that like overthinks everything for a very long time and then eventually discards it because I think it's a stupid idea anyway. Whereas when I then tell someone and people ask about it, then I'm kind of obliged to follow up or follow through. Yeah, I do have an idea for my next project now that this last one has just finished after many years. And like most of my work, it kind of springs from a very academic space. Like I love just reading essays and sort of contemporary philosophy and thinking. And I came across this book called The Politics of Glitter. And I'm super fascinated by this exploration of this academic looking into glitter as this ubiquitous material that essentially holds all of or many aspects of the human experience inside of itself. So she looks at how glitter is used for celebration, but also for emphasizing politics and supporting movements because it's a material that sticks. So it's used for like glitter bombing politicians. It's a material that obviously is by now deeply embedded in our environment because of microplastics. It's a material that we use to I guess decorate ourselves in through many kinds of makeup that use glittery substances. It's a material that is used, which I only found out through this book, to also alter bodily fluids to make them prettier. It is a material that is used often in film and also art and collages to kind of portray like dream scenarios or future dreams or future scenarios. So it's like this really interesting thing that attracts us as humans and also holds this kind of, yeah, it's very multifaceted visually and politically. And I want to do something with that. Again, certainly a installation work that uses digital media in some way, but I want it to be kind of the two words that I've sort of thought of so far to convey the feeling of it is dark and dazzling. It should be like very, like, I don't know, penetrating in a way and going from like fun to very uncomfortable. That's
nice.
That's the idea.
Nice secret project, and thank you for sharing it. Thank you for sharing it, and as you were saying, putting yourself in the position of shit, now I have to do it.
Yes.
Yeah, damn it. Why did I talk about it?
It sounds like a really interesting concept, and in the end, I think that it's a material that people have so much a kind of already made idea about it without seeing all of these layers, no? So it gives like a very interesting opportunity into revisiting this.
Yeah, I hope so. That's anyway very early stage thinking here. But I'm glad you're already in a way hooked.
I am.
No, I think so.
I want to know more about this glitter.
Yeah, and now it's not a secret anymore. So it's good because now it's something that it will be pushed to the end.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
And going into the fact that you shared it and the fact that sometimes we hesitate more in sharing these secret projects or not, do you feel that there is anything that makes you want to withhold things specifically, like, and that you feel, no, I'm not going to share this until? Is there like an until that you feel
Mhm.
Yes. Because I have a lot of random ideas and I don't want to, I guess, give the feeling that I'm like starting a million things and not finishing them. So until I sort of get a sense of, and until I'm myself enough captivated by an idea and have already sort of given it some thought, that's when I would share it. Although this is still like a very early, unusually early stage for me to talk about an idea, just generally, not because I'm not taken with it, but because, like probably many creators, I'm very self-conscious about my ideas. And yeah, it's hard. It's not easy to like let these things surface, even in a stage where they're already kind of well formed. Because there's always, I guess, fear that comes with creating. Actually, when my last piece premiered at the Venice Film Festival, I was given a book by a friend that was called Art and Fear. And he was like, you will need this as you bring this piece out to an audience, because people are going to hate it and people are going to kind of not think it's great. And then people are going to love it. It's going to be a mix of things, but like just to emotionally prepare myself for that moment. It was a really nice book. It was putting things into words that I guess everyone in a way has like told themselves, but kind of in a more concise, organized way. It was a good read.
Yeah, and I can imagine it can be very helpful, because I think that part of fear and for the stuff that you do is something that can walk with you during the entire kind part of the process, and especially like when we're talking with the secret project, when you start talking about it and maybe you still don't have it formed, depending on what feedback you end up getting, that can end up affecting your own vision about what you want to do, no? So it's interesting how fear plays in that equation, both in those initial stages as even later, obviously, when it's done and you need to show it to the audience, no?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's see what second door to the creative process wants to be open. You can choose a second number.
I'm gonna choose number 9.
Okay, door number 9, we have excuses. So here we have the pencil that in this game it's the symbolize the action, taking action on something, but then there are the flies around that these excuses that prevent you from doing the action. And sometimes it's when I have these, I will do it. When it arrives till then, I'll do it. And sometimes we believe our own excuses and then we don't do what we want to do. So here's to ask you if you have excuses, how do you deal with them? What's your approach to excuses?
Triggering question. Yeah, definitely have excuses. I would say I've gotten better with it. I would say probably until I turned 30 or ish, I was very, very paralyzed by those excuses, to the extent where I just couldn't, at least from my own perspective, didn't feel like I was able to do the things that I set out to do or that I had in my head, because I was just constantly telling myself that my ideas were not worth anything. And I feel like that's gotten better because after then realizing a few projects, I've sort of learned to trust the process more, and that is just not every idea is going to be perfect on the first try, and that's why projects take often years to be completed. So I've gotten better with it, but I think my excuses are still around that exact same theme of self-doubt, I guess. of my skills, of my what's the word? Whether I'm like the right person to tell the story, whether it's the right time, whether it's going to work out, just all of these like questions that come before taking the first step, I guess. But my best way around them is to give myself deadline, or not give myself deadlines, but seek people who give me deadlines, because I will not follow my own deadlines. So for instance, with this idea that I just shared, the secret idea, I actually already have a deadline. Well, which I kind of have decided to take as a deadline. It is kind of my own deadline, but it's also an external deadline. It's like this pitching event where artists who don't have any funding yet, are in very, very early idea stage, can pitch for an amount of money that is then just supporting like the idea stage, basically. So it's like no strings attached. Just go and like pitch your idea in whatever shape it has taken so far. And so I have to write a one-pager about this glitter thing now, which is really hard. And I've meant to finish it already, but I'm still like finding excuses to do it on the weekend, or do it on Monday night on the train, or do it an hour before the deadline. But yeah, this weekend I have to do it.
I think that it's great advice. The seeking external deadlines, and because I do think that it's very difficult when one sets their own deadlines. It's so easy to lie to yourself and to know that there's nothing really at stake in that moment. So it's not a problem if you just move it 10 days or 1 week or 2 weeks, and suddenly you've moved it so much that you haven't done anything. And in the end, with these external deadlines, be there pitching opportunities, like you were saying, submissions to places, to markets. In the end, there's a deadline on that date. So you either spend the entire weekend doing it right before you have to submit it, or you ideally spend more time, no? But it's a great force to action, that external deadline, to try to fight off these excuses. I really much love the deadline as an excuse killer.
Yes, me too. Another thing that is less of an excuse killer, but at least soothes this, because often my excuse is also like, there's such a mountain, like it's such a big thing to write like a whole outline. So, but no one sits down and writes a whole outline in a day. It's like you start and then you work on it and work on it. And what I keep sort of remembering is this quote I once read, probably on one of these like self-help napkins or whatever, but it's a good quote. It's we overestimate what we can achieve in a day, and we underestimate what we can achieve in a year. And to just kind of remind myself that it's okay if I just start, and what I first bring to the page is probably not going to be great, but that it's a process, and that I need to just start and like keep going, and then eventually it'll be finished. But that's also helpful sometimes.
Yeah,
really good.
And the whole trusting the process thing, I mean, that's why do shit is called do shit, because it is, yes, it's gonna be shit at the beginning. It's fine. It's part of the process. Take out that thing that makes you feel that what you do has to be perfect in the first line. No. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see then. What does the third door hold for us?
I want to choose number 3, please.
Okay. Number 3, we have in the zone. This card is a reminder of when you are creating and you are in this zone that is so the moment that you forget where you are, the time to sleep, to eat, but you are creating and you are in the flow of creating and having a good time. And it's the question is if you feel easy to go to this zone, if you have some rituals or a way of achieving it, or if it's something that it comes at some point randomly.
Yeah, this is such an interesting one. I haven't thought about that until recently because I feel like I haven't been in the zone for like many years, just because of the nature of the projects that I've been working on. Is that they're projects with sort of teams. So I can only be in the zone when I'm by myself, first of all. I can't be in the zone with other people. And the projects that I've realized in recent years were all multimedia installations or immersive installations that required bigger teams. So there was no point that I felt where I was just sitting down by myself for a prolonged period of time. Maybe yes, to write a script, but it didn't feel the same as, for instance, editing a film, where like for 6 weeks I'm sitting in the editing room and it's just me and the material, and I'm like there until 2 a.m. and back there and 10 a.m, and just like that is like in the zone for me. But the last time I've had this was this summer when I wrote the essay that is been published alongside the premiere of my installation, because that was then just me with a bunch of books and my laptop to write. And that was so much fun. I enjoyed that process so much. And the only way I can do something like that, though, is by not, like, I can't just give myself, oh, I'm going to do this now just for a couple hours in the morning. Like, I need 2 weeks or longer, or at least a week, or at least a day, like a complete time entity, I guess. Where then it's just me and whatever task I'm choosing to do. Like I'm not someone who can just get in the zone for an hour. That doesn't work for me. I mean, it'd be cool if I could be, but I'm not. Yeah.
No, but it's true that sometimes we just need to be able to. Sometimes you need 1 day, sometimes you need 1 week, sometimes you need to be able to dedicate a month to be able to continuously getting into that zone. And it can be very difficult if you just, okay, I have these 2 hours so that I'm going to be working on that. I also find it very interesting what you were saying, that depending on the type of work and if it's with more people or if it's by yourself, that we all feel more inclined to let ourselves get in the zone in different kinds of work, and it's interesting that you feel it more like something that is to be experienced individually, and of you with the piece having time to spend with that piece so that you can really like get lost in there. No?
Yeah, 100%. It's I'm alone in my zone. Oh yeah, and one thing, because you asked what gets me there, is for me, taking long walks is really helpful, like without my phone or anything, just leaving that behind. Or reading really helps me to bring my brain into this kind of place where it's has a better focus, is not distracted, and it kind of only works when I start with something in the morning, like straight away. I can't do other stuff and then try to get there like at 4 p.m.
Yeah,
I don't know. Needs to be after sleep. That helps.
You are a morning person that wants to start with that stuff and give yourself the time to spend as much time with that without having to spend it on something else first. It's great to know oneself, and that way each one knows the things that work for one and the things that work for other people. No, very nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
So, Matt, I don't know if you wanted to say anything because I cut you a little bit. Sorry.
No. I love to know the tips that everybody has to get into the zone, and I think that one of the tips that it's repeated. It's time to have enough time ahead for this moment, because sometimes it's not easy to get in the zone. You need some time to get there. So if it's 1 hour, as you said, it's not enough to get there. So you need some time ahead to just start and then get to the zone. So it's nice to know that, and I can relate to that. So
Okay, so having navigated through these 3 parts of the process, we are going to choose a map for a reading. So this reading can be how to combat the shithole if you're feeling in a shithole. We can go with pros and cons, which is more of an analysis of pros and cons of doing a project or of making a decision of doing something. And otherwise, we can go for a more broad reading with past, present, and future. So which one of these readings calls more to you?
I'm very interested in my past, present, and future because I never really know what I'm doing with my life, or that's how I feel anyway. So please tell me, Mar, what is my life?
let's see. Is that a question in your professional life, like a more abrupt picture of your past, present, and future of the projects that you have done, or you're thinking on a specific area or project?
I think my question to myself is always, do I acquire new skills like this glass blowing thing now? Or do I deepen the skills that I have? Because I'm so interested in so many different things. And I don't necessarily feel like I'm like starting a lot of things and then not following through. If I do decide to do something, I stick with that at least for some time to actually acquire it as a skill at some level. But sometimes I do wonder, like, am I just I don't know, just running in like 20 different directions, or am I actually doing, like, following my intuition and it's a good thing?
Okay.
I can relate to that so much because I do feel like the last years I've been opening more doors, and it can feel strange when you decide to drift from following that just one lane, which we've been used to listening. Like, you choose a career, you go down that path, you do that for the rest of your life. So when you start straying and wanting to complement skills, and I think as well that one of the things that I've noticed more in the immersive sector and the tech sector is that there is a lot of drive to mix things and to learn different things and seeing how those mix, and suddenly that opens up more doors and more boxes. So I really empathize with this that you were sharing.
Oh, I'm glad I'm not alone.
So now I'm making 3 piles, and I'm gonna ask you to choose one, if you want the first one, the second one, or the third one.
First one, please.
Okay. So we'll see. I put the map in the middle, and then I have to put the cards as it says. Main topic, past, present, and future. And this is to wrap a conclusion. So let's see the topic, the question here. The main topic is procrastination. And I don't know if it comes with this idea of doing a lot of things, this octopus that has a lot of hands and then touching a lot of stuff, and perhaps this doubt of if it's a good path or it's procrastinating with a lot of things and not actually doing this sheet that they have here, a sheet that is the project that they want to do, but then the legs are doing other projects and other stuff. So it's this idea of finding this balance, perhaps. this is in the main topic. It's not saying that it's bad or good. It's like, this is the question that you did kind of relate to that card. That is a lot of stuff. I don't know if you relate to that or.
I'm feeling that it's spot on, like very sad truth of my life.
Don't worry, it's not only yours. Many people have a lasting relationship with procrastination, and they still manage to do shit.
Yeah, which is so fascinating. I sometimes wonder how I do shit at all, how I get anything done. But yeah, I'm definitely that octopus with the many legs doing a bunch of other stuff. Tonight I'm definitely gonna thoroughly reorganize my closet instead of writing that one pager.
That clearly has priority.
Yeah.
Winter's coming. Need my winter clothes. What can I say?
So let's see
and it's
the past.
Yes.
So, do you want to say something, Marta?
No, I was just thinking that it's curious because you were saying before that one of the things that also takes you to your zone is like reading and stuff like that. And for me, when I see this card, Mar says that I always use the term of procrasti-learning, of I'm doing procrastination, but since I'm learning for something that I want to do, then it feels less bad, I guess, in a way. But you get lost anyway in the procrastination. So, but it's just I'm curious how each one of us has like the different. Some things help you focus, some things help you get out of it. I don't know.
Yeah, it ties a little bit into excuses, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's see the past. The past is it worth it card? Is this idea of in any project or in any creative life, there's a moment where you are in a shithole, and we always say that it's this dark hole that is inevitable. It's a crisis, and there's a moment that you are like in the middle of it, and you question that if it's worth it, what you're doing, and you question yourself. And this seems that it was in the past a lot of questioning projects or the career, or also this idea of opening too much paths. Perhaps it's this question that it was in the past a lot and in a shithole.
Yeah. Also very much relate to that. I guess it's exactly this questioning whether it's worth following through with an idea, whether that idea is stupid, or deciding that idea is stupid and then just discarding it. Yeah. It's it's a tough one.
And can I ask you, since this card is in the past, and I don't know if as you've been building up your career to arrive to this moment, like I'm guessing that the more time we spend with our creative process and in the industries that we want to do, the more easy you start to identify the stuff that is not worth it and that you are not willing to go through for any project, because in the end what's more important is your creative life or your life and other things. No, so I guess my question would be, is there stuff that you feel that you've clearly identified that this is not worth it going into the shithole for this, or maybe not specifically, I don't know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Until this very day, I still learn what's not worth it for me. But I think mostly it's been learning better to find the people that I can work with well, and identifying people that I won't work with well. And trusting my instinct on that, because I feel like I've always had that instinct, but I often was just like, oh, but on paper it's great. Oh, but this person, like, no one else is going to say, yes, I want to work with you, so I'm going to go with this person, even though I don't feel comfortable with them. So there is, I think that is probably my main learning curve from the beginning of my career to now, is figuring out a good and creative and functioning team dynamic by choosing the team wisely. And the other thing I've learned is that it's not worth it to bend over backwards for other people's preferences, and to more clearly, I guess, state when my boundary has been reached, which, yeah, is still something that I can do better in some situations and less good in others, but getting there. Yeah.
Very good advice, and I think that it's so important what you were saying of knowing when you're of learning to trust your gut instinct of whether you're going to be working well with some people or not, because the project may be wonderful, but if you end up having to do it with people that are not a good match for you or for the project, then that project's not going to be wonderful, even if on paper it was. So it's something that is so important for any creative process, especially creative processes that involve more than one people, that the picking the team and knowing what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept. It's something that you need to learn fast, ideally, but that sadly you only learn through having shit happen.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Shit has happened and it wasn't worth it, but I did it anyway. And now I know better what's worth it and what's not.
Exactly. Yeah. And Mar, where are we in the present? Where are we in the present?
Present moment. The tribe for you. Very interesting to come up with this card after what you were saying about it was worth it, maybe not, to find and to trust your instinct, and that we were talking about the importance of the surrounding yourself with a good team, with good people that you get really along to work with. And it seems so that you are getting there, and that you have a tribe for you, and that you have this team that it supports you, that you just fit and you just understand each other, because in the present, it seems that you have a lot of people around.
I love this card. It's very cute. Also, all the octopuses like dangling their feet together. Yes, I do feel like that. I feel like I have people like that in my life, but I feel like my next step is actually like assembling the team of all of these people. So yeah, I know them. I just need to now assemble the best team that has ever existed for me.
You know them. They just don't know that they're going to be working on glitter yet.
That's it. Yeah, no, they will. Like, glitter is going to be like the best team ever. I know it. I'm going to make it happen.
It's going to be your tribe.
Yeah.
So where are we going in the future then, Mar?
The future. The card that everybody wants to know. Tools. This card reminds us that sometimes we need the perfect tools and also might be the perfect team to work with. So it's a reminder of also knowing what do you have and what do you lack of, and also get this tool or this knowledge or this person that will help you with this tool that you don't have in order to make this project.
I like this card. It speaks to me because in a kind of more literal way in terms of tools, because I've been thinking for a few years, but more concretely recently, that I want to acquire skills that take me away from my laptop and from my desk. Like, I want to be able to make things or engage in my work in different ways that aren't just digital. And so if that's what the future holds, I'm very happy about that. That's how I interpret this card. That's how I choose to interpret it.
No. And I always say that I give my interpretation, but then the good interpretation is the one of the people who is asking, because it speaks to your subconscious, and it's there where the right answer is, not mine. So it's definitely this answer. It's for sure the good one.
Yeah, I'm gonna carry a little ladder like that one.
Yes.
You've been carrying something like that ladder, but to different places, and it does feel that it goes very much in line with what you were saying of learning new skill sets and wanting to broaden your tool set, no? And so it's very nice to be seeing that as part of the future, which it feels that you want to achieve with open arms, no? Of that, okay, I got all these tools, and now I want to explore others that are going to be giving me a different kind of skill set.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. I feel like these cards are manifesting what I want. I'm very happy about that.
It's so far so nice. I mean, the shithole was already in the past, so it's a nice outcome. Yeah. Let's see the conclusion to keep in mind to wrap. The imposter. This is a card reminding us about this imposter syndrome that we all suffer. And I like the way that we decided to represent this, because it's this octopus holding this pencil that is tiny, that is the symbol of the action. And then this octopus, they are seeing themselves with this huge action that they have to do. Even the stars are huge, which is not the reality. It's like the action is doable, but it's what we are seeing when we are feeling as an imposter. So it's kind of a reminder of the imposter syndrome, and perhaps also with this idea of the future for new tools, that sometimes when you achieve or you want to go for new things and new paths, it's when the imposter comes, when you are out of your comfort zone on the things that you know. It's a good reminder to go for it and go for these new paths without that much this idea of it's not doable and everything is so big and so new.
Yeah, that's a good reminder. That's something I need to tell myself every day. Definitely was definitely topic in my therapy session earlier, my imposter syndrome.
Yeah. It feels like what you were saying before, that sometimes you feel that the excuses that circle you have a lot to do with you feeling that you're capable of doing things, or if is this going to interest anybody or that, and I feel that usually is that imposter talking through us. So I think that it's very interesting that in this whole reading, in the end, it's like, okay, yeah, might struggle with procrastination like everyone else, and yes, maybe the imposter is a little bit out of control in some situation, but I've figured out what I want and what I don't want. I know who the tribe for me is going to be able to do this the shit that I want to do in a healthy way. And I know that I can develop that skill set that maybe, yeah. And as Mar was saying, anytime that we choose to get an adventure into a new place that is outside our comfort zone, we are always going to feel like the imposter of what am I doing? Why am I even doing this? And holding ourselves up to a standard that is very, and the more you thrive in your professional careers and other things, the more you hold yourself accountable to that same standard, even for the stuff that you are starting with. No, so I feel that I'm very glad that even if we know the things that are trying to drag us, having that tribe and developing those tools is like a very nice way of tackling those lingering issues.
Yeah. This was a very, very satisfying reading. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing all your approach and your process and excuses. We are always glad to hear that we are not alone with excuses, procrastination, and fears.
Likewise, yeah, it definitely is so helpful to learn about other people's process, and that not everyone or most people don't have like the perfect path or way of progressing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And each one finds the things that works good for them, and something can work for you and not work for someone else. And we started doing these interviews because we saw that there was a lot of good advice that some people do end up getting unblocked when they listen. I hadn't thought about doing things this way, and we always have such a curious perspective about what the work of the artist is like, that I think it's very useful to understand the struggles a little bit more and to talk a little bit more about those struggles and how we overcome them.
No, definitely.
Okay, so thank you for your time. In honor of this conversation through this shithole, we will be doing a discount in your name for people who feel inspired to do shit, so that they can purchase our cards with a Lilian discount. But besides that, we wanted to ask you if there is anything that you would like to make public and to explain. You already made public your secret project, but maybe there is something else that you would like to make public, or guide people to where they can find you, where they can see your work. Whatever you want to make public works.
Yeah, definitely. There's probably a more current and a more general place. So my latest project, Duchampiana, is showing in Prague next week at the Art VR Festival, as well as at the Digital Body Festival in London in November. So if anyone is around in either of these cities, come see me. And otherwise, generally, my work lives on my website because I'm terrible at social media. So sorry, you can't really, I mean, you can visit my Instagram, but there's nothing there. So come to lilianhess.com is my website, and that's where everything is kind of collected.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I recommend that anyone that has an opportunity in Prague or London to go check it out. It's an experience that needs to be experienced with your body in those physical spaces. So go around there. And Lily, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing everything that you shared with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye-bye.